Hello, everyone. Welcome. And I am Dr. Amanda, your plant-based lifestyle physician and health coach who is here to educate and empower you to make healthy decisions so that you can live your most abundant life. Well, before we get started today, I always have to let you know that this information that you see on the videos are just information and education only. It is not medical advice, and it is not intended to treat or cure any illnesses that you may have, and you must contact your own medical professional if you have a specific question. So now that we got that out of the way, I'd like to introduce my guest today, Dr. Funke Brown. So thank you for coming on today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yes, yes. So you have done like so much and everything like that. So I would like for you to introduce yourself to the audience, please.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. My pleasure. So, I'm Dr. Funke Afolabi-Brown, or Dr. Brown. I am a pediatric pulmonologist and a sleep medicine physician. I'm also the founder of Restful Sleep MD. And really, what we do is empower busy professionals, especially busy moms, to prioritize sleep in themselves and their children so they can thrive and reach their fullest potential. So, definitely something I've been so passionate about, and now I get to do it.
Yes, wonderful. Like for people that know me, they know that I love sleep. So I was so excited to ask you to come on here. So to talk about this because people thought I was basically like a interesting child, I would say. My parents, I was the third of my in my family, and my parents said that I would sleep through the night starting at age 2 weeks. And they were like, they would come and they're like, oh my gosh, I mean, is something wrong with her? And then after like a week or so, they're like, great, we're just gonna go ahead and sleep. And I just like slept through the night. And from then on, I'm like, I've been a sleeper and a napper and all that kind of stuff. So
That is awesome.
yes, yes. Unfortunately, my daughter did not take after me, but we'll talk about that later. Um, so can you start off by telling us the importance of sleep? Now, I know it, but some of the other people may not, since
No,
you heard my story.
I know. That is just beautiful. You're like some people's dream. Like, I want to be like her in terms of my sleep. I'm telling you. Well, one thing I always say, sleep is not just a cure for sleepiness. And I think that's the problem. A lot of times, as women, particularly, and everyone, we push ourselves to the limit and then we drop. And then we
Mhm.
get up and keep doing it. And of course, you wake up, if you get good sleep, you feel better. But all during that time, you were just not curing your sleepiness.
Mhm.
Your brain was active, doing a lot of work. And so just starting from what our brain is doing during sleep, it's doing a work of cleansing. So
Mhm.
essentially what happens is when you wake up in the morning, and as the day passes by, as the day goes, what happens is you build deposits on the surface of your brain, some proteins and things like that. One of them is beta amyloid. And
Mhm.
so what happens when you sleep eventually at night or you take a nap is your brain then kind of washes all that off. There's a system in our brain called the glymphatic system, which kind of cleanses all that. So almost like your lymphatic system in your body, the
Mhm.
brain has this smart system in place to cleanse the surface of your brain of those products. If that builds up, it can cause a lot of detrimental effects down the line. Things like Alzheimer's and
Mm.
things like that have been implicated with not getting enough sleep. So that's just the first piece.
Mhm.
And then we think about the other benefits of sleep and how important it is. It's important for our memory. So during sleep, you're going through different stages of sleep. One of the things that's happening during sleep is you're actually taking things from your short term to the long term memory. So there's almost like a filing system that's going on. And if you think about it, for those that do not get good sleep, you may have moments where you're just like foggy and you're like, wait, why can't I remember this? So sometimes just getting enough sleep can help.
Mhm.
And then, mood is also a huge one. There's this structure in the middle of your brain called the amygdala that's really responsible for like mood regulation and processes, past experiences that are horrible or good experiences kind of just all get consolidated. So
Mhm.
all that is is beneficial for your sleep. And then, then we go to our physical health. So, there's been so many diseases that have been linked to sleep deprivation. So things like obesity, because there are hormones in your body that gets regulated. So there's the hormone leptin, which is sort of that like satiety or fullness hormone, and then the ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone. And so when you don't sleep well, it kind of flips, and so you're hungry. And guess what? If you don't sleep well, if you're not able to sleep at night, most times you're not going to grab a carrot stick. You're probably going to go grab that cheesesteak. Or no, not cheesesteak, maybe like that cheesecake or something, cookies. Chocolate cake leftover, cookies. That's what your body is craving. And so you can imagine that eventually can lead to increased risk of obesity, and then the detrimental effects, diabetes or insulin resistance and things like that. So even your physical health and metabolism is linked to sleep. And then, so many other things, cognition, executive decision making, especially for those of us that are like, kind of, professional, and we're working really, making really tough decisions. Everybody's making really hard decisions through the day. So sleep is really beneficial in helping you to kind of make those right decisions as well. So those are just some benefits.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that you said about the dementia, that just kind of blew my mind. Like I knew that in the back of my mind, like that would be, but just for you actually bringing that up, I'm like, wow. So, if we bring that to a lot of people's cognition, and like they're thinking about that, they're like, okay, well, maybe it's more than just a little bit of rest. Like you said, it's not just for sleepiness, but it's a lot of other consequences that we get from not sleeping well. So yeah, that thing in the middle of the night, getting up, eating. I would talk to my husband about that one. So, so I was like, "Why are you always up in the middle of the night eating?" So yeah, so we gotta go through that. Yeah. So, how many hours of sleep should someone get to try to decrease their risk for these medical problems that you were just talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So the National Sleep Foundation actually puts out this just really incredible table. You can look at it on their website, where they have recommendations for sleep based on age. So the amount of sleep you need depends on how old you are. So for infants who are rapidly going through that rapid phase of development, they need more sleep. So for example, you can have an infant who's sleeping anywhere from 14 to 17 hours. And then, you move on to like school age children that could be sleeping anywhere from like 9 to 11 hours. And then teenagers about 8 to 10 hours. In adults, usually will stay up until about age 65. You should be sleeping about 7 to 9 hours. And then over age 65, sort of you start to just need less sleep. Usually we'll say like 7 to 8 hours or so. But really it's 7 to 9 hours. That's the recommendation. But then you can imagine it's a range. So you may decide, oh, well, I'm just going to skimp on the bare minimum and I'll do my 7 hours. You really have to be true to yourself and say, how much sleep do I need to feel better, to wake up feeling refreshed, right? So if you're like, no, but I slept 7 hours and I'm still exhausted, then that means you probably maybe an 8-hour kind of person, right? So I think one of the exercises I encourage people to do is, if you have like a 2-week period, like maybe in the summer or something, where you had no alarms, no obligations, go to bed at your typical time and wake up at your, without the alarm, that will give you an idea of how much sleep you really need. Most of the time is somewhere between that 7 to 9 hours though.
Okay, that's good, because like I said, like there's no hard fast rule that you have to actually see how your body feels. And I've been trying to do that more recently and seeing what my time frame is. And I still say I'm closer to that 9 hours.
I love it. That's awesome.
So people used to tease me growing up too. Like I would hang out with my grandmother, and like you said, older people that don't sleep that many hours, but she would go to bed early. And so I've always been that person that goes to bed like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and people are trying to call me or send me a message. I'm like, no, like
I'm done. I'm shut down for the day. I thought I was bad. Usually by like 9:15, 9:30, you really can't get to me, but you're like, wow, okay.
yes, like that was tough for me, like in med school, especially because you would see those people that's like they're up all night studying. I'm like, how can you even function? Like I wouldn't be able to function if I don't go to sleep. So So yeah, I am so happy you said that. So I'm going to try it without the alarm to see how I actually really do, because I'm doing so much right now that I'm like, no, I got to get up at this time, and I'm seeing.
No.
But I noticed that if I do go to bed at 8:30, I still have to get up at like 5. Then I still feel kind of refreshed, like with that time frame. So that's very, very good. So not for me, see here, I'm a sleeper, but what are some tips that you can give people that if they're having trouble sleeping or need a good night's sleep, they feel like they don't get that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say even for people that have good sleep
Hmm.
and those that have a hard time sleeping, I think it's very helpful to practice those healthy sleep habits. And the reason why is because you might have changes suddenly. There might be an illness or something acute that sort of moves your sleep around. So you may be, there's the entity called acute insomnia. Usually will happen maybe during a significant life event or, change in some kind of schedule or whatever.
Hmm.
So if you have those healthy sleep habits in place already, you can then say, okay, you know what, we'll keep doing what we're doing and, we'll kind of ride this through. So I think it's always helpful just for everyone to have those. So um, some of the ones that I think are really, really important is consistency. I think
Hmm.
that is a huge one. A consistency with your bedtime and consistency with your wake time. And so really that cues your body to say, yes, this is when we go to bed and this is when you wake up. So you're training your circadian or that internal clock to
Hmm.
know exactly when to anticipate sleep and when your melatonin is getting released and things like that. So that's one. And usually when I say the consistency, even on the weekends, I know most times we try to catch up on sleep on the weekends and sleep in till noon.
Hmm.
Ideally, you want to avoid that because that really gives this feeling of a jet lag, right? You're
Hmm.
traveling to some, 2 or 3 time zones away and coming back by Sunday.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
so consistency is one that I think is really important. Another one I feel is something we really should pay attention to is having a routine. And so usually we have this routine for our babies and they're
Hmm.
going to bed and they're taking a bath and we're reading and singing and we just flop into bed. So we should adopt
Yes.
some kind of routine because
Okay.
again, these are the ways that you start to kind of wind down. So you're not going to bed and your mind is racing. You're not hopping up
Hmm.
from your laptop and trying to hit the bed. You'll be tossing and turning for some time. So
Hmm.
usually I would say your routine, don't make it complicated. 2 to 3 pleasant activities in the
Hmm.
direction of the bedroom. So whether you want to do some meditation, you want to take a bath, you want to read a book, stuff like that. So something to just help you wind down.
Okay.
Yeah. And then another one that I feel is really important is things you should eliminate around bedtime. So
Okay.
devices are on top of that list, right? Technology, we love technology. It's come to
Yes.
stay. It's really
Hmm.
made the world small. Look at us talking now,
Hmm. Hmm. Right.
and reaching your audience, right? So technology is such a big one. It's so beneficial, but it does have its detrimental effects.
Hmm.
And one of it is the fact that it has just a lot of light and that light suppresses our body's natural melatonin secretion. And
Okay.
so melatonin is it's a darkness hormone. So it's produced at night when it's dark outside and you're ready to sleep. So
Hmm.
when you are exposed to the blue light that comes from, phones or iPads or video games or TV, it suppresses that and your brain starts to think it's still daytime.
Mm.
But then I hear the counter argument, which is, well, I have the blue light filter on my
Hmm.
phone.
Hmm. That's what I
So
was
of
going to
course,
ask. Hmm.
the thing about that is that even though you have that, think about what happens to your entire system when you get a text that just makes you mad,
Hmm.
or you see
Hmm.
a post and you're like, or something, or like someone says, "Oh, I need you to do this tomorrow," and you see it just before you get to bed, and then you're sort of planning your whole day in
Hmm.
your mind. So it creates this increased emotional arousal that can then make it hard for you to settle down and fall asleep. And also, there's the notifications nonstop. Every app wants to send you notifications.
Yes.
So, that in and of itself, just buzzing, can also be very alerting. So,
Hmm.
that's definitely something I encourage that we try to avoid. In addition
Yes.
to caffeine, that's the other thing you should avoid because caffeine is a stimulant.
Hmm.
It's the most commonly used drug as far as I'm concerned, right? But what it does is it's very alerting. And so it stays in your system for several hours. So then if you have caffeine in your system, it's really hard for you to fall asleep. And also the quality of your sleep can be affected. So those are just a few I think would be key
good.
to
Yes.
restful sleep habits.
Yes, yes. So I like the routine. I can say I'm lacking that because, like I said, since I just go to sleep, I'm usually fine.
Yeah.
But you did mention something, so I wanted to ask about this. So you talked about the caffeine that may be causing issues with sleep. What about exercising at nighttime? Does that make a difference for people? Because I have that question. I'm like, well, I don't know really. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So exercise is incredible and it's very helpful for sleep. It actually helps you get it helps give you a lot more slow wave sleep. And slow wave sleep is really when you get a lot of restoration and recovery and things like that. So it's really good. But the timing is something we need to pay attention to. So usually what we recommend is about 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. You want to avoid any intense exercise. So that's not when you want to do like some mega cardio kickboxing. You know what I mean? Like, because what happens with that is your heart rate goes up, right? The endorphins and all that go up, and and also your core body temperature increases.
Okay.
For you to sleep, we need those things heading in the other direction. So that's why you should try to limit intense exercise before bed.
Okay.
That being said, if that's the only time you get to exercise, please still exercise. Don't let sleep be a cop out. So if you can't fit it in earlier in the day or in the morning, then you can. I mean, maybe in moderation, really. But exercise is good. The timing is usually something I encourage people to pay attention to.
Yeah. So ideally, we want to do it. You said 1 to 2 hours before we're going to go to bed. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Then just one last question for you. You also mentioned something about catching up on sleep. So you said that that's not good. So some people think that they can do that. So you're telling us basically definitely don't do it, or is there some leeway?
Wiggle room. I got you. There's some wiggle room, let's say. Because we all, especially if you have the way our society is built, the way the demands that are placed on us it's really sometimes, to be honest, there are times when you can get like your consistent number of hours of sleep, and then there's sometimes where you just really seem to be behind in that sense. I think if you're going in with the intention of, listen, I'm going to just push myself to the limit and I'll try to catch up on the weekend, it doesn't work, and we recommend against it.
Okay.
The reason why is because, again, you moving your circadian clock so far out on the weekend, where normally maybe you wake up at 7 a.m. and now you're or 6 a.m. and now you're sleeping till 11 or 12 noon in an effort to catch up on sleep. The problem is you're going to have a really hard time falling asleep, most likely on the Sunday, and getting up on Monday. So then you've lost whatever you thought you were banking. So sleep is not a bank, aka
no banking. Okay.
No banking. Well, if you need to sleep a little extra, usually I'll say about 2 hours extra from your typical wake up time is okay. But you want to avoid pushing it too much. And if you're honest to yourself, sometimes when we oversleep in that sense, you end up not feeling refreshed. You wake up feeling more exhausted. It's what you call sleep inertia. So it just you almost feel worse than you went to bed. So ideally, just try to maintain that habit of consistency so that you're not needing to try to make up sleep as much as possible.
Okay. I like that. I like that because I can sometimes want to sleep too much. So that good. At least something I was able to push and do better this time. So thank you so much for all your knowledge on sleeping. And where can people find you if they want more information about sleep?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for having me. I am on Instagram at Restful Sleep MD. And so there I share frequently on just some practical sleep tips, why sleep is important and how to achieve restful sleep. I also have a website. It's restfulsleepmd.com. And if you go to my website and subscribe to my newsletter, you actually get a cheat sheet of very, very practical sleep tips. So I mentioned a few, but I created an acronym that kind of walks you through what's evidence-based and what are the things you need to pay attention to create restful sleep habits for yourself. So that's a great place to start. And there's always a lot of the blogs and things like that on my website as well. So feel free to check it out.
Wonderful. Yes, I will definitely put in the description of this video your information so people can easily click on that and get those helpful tips. One last thing, do you have anything new coming up that you want to let the audience know about?
Yeah, thank you. So I am working on a sleep course for teens, because one thing I see is a lot of families, it's just such a battle at bedtime with teens. One, because their bodies have changed, their needs are changed, and sometimes as parents, it's just such a struggle. We expect them to still be doing the same things. And so that one of the things I really want to do is empower the teens themselves to take on ownership of their sleep. Because when they sleep better, they do better, they're less moody, they're less cranky. And so that was a group I feel like, instead of people saying, okay, I'm just going to wait until you're 19 and then we'll regroup. We can at least get started on something they can do, to help them, because they are extremely sleep deprived, and we see it in all aspects of their lives. And so that's a course that should be coming out soon. Again, if you're subscribed to my emailing list, you'll be able to get that in as soon as it's available.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. So we'll definitely link that to that. So if that's actually out already, then I'll go back so then people can add that on. So if you have that going. So thank you once again for coming. I appreciate it. This was a wonderful conversation. So everyone, make sure you're getting all your sleep and have a good rest of your day. Okay. Bye-bye.